good timing because I suppose going on from online, thinking about social media, I mean, I do want to give out a shout out also to the head of ethics at BACP, who did also contribute to the book. I don't think she's able to come tonight, but it was great to kind of have a little bit of her input in terms of where we were at with ethics from, what is the biggest membership body. And the ethics team there, in my opinion, do an absolutely great job, actually. Then we had some people involved in our social media chapter, which has been great. I mean, social media is such a, developing field. And of course, Nicholas mentioned our subtitle there, which has kind of multiple meanings, actually. But one of the running themes through the book is, solidarity, I guess also in the community of private practitioners, and thinking about the profession as a whole, and how our voices can be heard as private practitioners, working on the ground therapists who may just be going in, talking about the pandemic. I always have to make this point because I find it very, very important that day in, day out, private practitioners were there working with their clients in the pandemic, and I really want to give a shout out to all those therapists, because we're not classed as key workers, but my goodness, dealing with, your own stuff, living through a pandemic and carrying on, that's to be commended. But a lot of those therapists, they don't have a voice in the profession. Social media over the last few years has become a very powerful place for our voices to be heard. It's a bit of a minefield in terms of ethics and in terms of our profession. Where are we going with it? Who knows? But it's really great to have some private practitioners contribute to this chapter. We had John Paul, who gave a little, was in his own little section, because he actually uses YouTube, which is was really like new to me in terms of finding how a private practitioner will grow their practice on YouTube. And then we had a roundtable discussion with some really, just putting, okay, what are the considerations? What are the ethical considerations? So it was a really great chat. And yeah, absolutely invite anyone, who's here. If you want to come on screen and say anything, please do.
Well, we've got several colleagues here. One or two might want to come online. I think the team are able to spotlight. Myra, I can see you on my screen, but just did you want to come on and say a couple of things? And just while you're doing that, Jeff, you might look for some other colleagues that we've got on the list. And Myra, it's great to have you here as well. And yeah, welcome.
Sorry, apologise for my sore throat and cough. Well, first of all, can I just say congratulations to Caz and Nicholas for this amazing book. I wrote in the comments that it's such an important book, and absolutely, both of you were absolutely spot on in terms of an audience and for practitioners. But in my comment, I was speaking about how important it's going to be for supervisors, because there is something about, I think, the supervision element sometimes kind of becomes the forgotten part of this work. And yet it supervisors that are going to be supporting all of these practitioners to ensure that they're working ethically. And so supervisors also kind of listening to this and watching this, recognising that it's so important that when we think about private practice, that supervisors are also learning and growing and evolving alongside and in parallel to those practitioners that this book is speaking to. So yeah, just a huge shout out to Caz and Nicholas for an amazing book. And in terms of the social media, yeah, I mean, thank you for inviting me to be part of the social media panel. I think for me, what was so engaging and so important about being part of being on the panel is because, just in the same way, just as kind of working online has developed over the last so many years, and especially since the pandemic, I think social media is becoming so much part and parcel of the business of private practice. I know you all mentioned earlier that it isn't just about the clinical practice itself, it's also about running a business. And it's about holding the balance between those two. And so for me, as somebody who is quite regular in posting, as you both know, certainly Kaz, you know this, as two practitioners who spend a lot of time engaging with our communities and with our audience online, that social media, for me anyway, is not just about seeing it as a lens of marketing, but rather I think it's about opening up accessibility to the work we do and to spotlight and raise the visibility of what we offer in our practice and in our profession. So for me, I think the social media piece in this book, I'm really pleased that it's in there because it's no longer a side piece, I think, to the work that we do. I think it's part and parcel around the, whether you want to call it the psychoeducation, but it's about raising the visibility of the work that we do and making it more accessible then to clients and communities who otherwise would find it outside of their comfort zone or outside of their familiarity and are unsure of what kind of happens behind that closed door. And so to make it more common and more regular and more familiar for people, I think the role of social media, the platform of social media is about building that community and that relationship between the profession, us as practitioners, and the clients and communities that we serve, as well as the community between us as well. So I'm really pleased that this has been included in the book.
Thank you, Myra. Thank you so much. Yeah. And John Paul, I can see you're here as well. You might want to make a comment.
Oh, hello, can you hear me?
We can indeed. Thank you, John Paul. Welcome.
Yeah, well, it's lovely to be here. And yes, with the YouTube channel, I was delighted to have Caz on to talk about the book, which was great. But yeah, particularly around social media, I mean, I can see, and YouTube actually, I can see the potential ethical issues that could come up and how important it is to be thinking about that. I mean, I've only been doing it, well, I've been doing it for a couple of years now. And, you know, the potential growth is huge with it. It's, you know, international, all over the world. But I can also see that just a few things that have come up in the last few days, you know, people starting to ask questions that get into sort of therapeutic territory. I am a therapist, so do you start to respond to those sort of things? One of the things that I love about YouTube, as opposed to some other social media, is it can be as long as you want. So you can be talking about, you can give sort of psychological and well-being subjects a long time. You can be on there for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. But I suppose also what comes with that is potential for saying things, you know, are your clients watching? Do you know whether they've subscribed? All those kind of things. But I've also been contacted by a number of people coming into the profession, sort of training. Actually, quite a lot of people that subscribe have either started the training or just on the training. But people coming into the profession want to set up YouTube channels, for example, now. So they want to develop their kind of brand, so to speak, relatively early on. So yeah, it's just a really interesting area as to how people are going to navigate it. Because as I say, it's got amazing potential to talk for hours about something, but that equally, I suppose, can also come with difficulties possibly. So, I mean, I have contacted BACP to talk about potentially YouTube, and I'm speaking to somebody, I can't quite remember the name of the person I'm talking to, but early in the new year, hopefully, about perhaps talking about it for BACP somehow. But yes, but back to the book. I mean, you know, I've been going through it, chapters on money, that kind of thing. It's just amazing. I know a lot of people that have subscribed to the channel have bought it and are reading it at the moment. So delighted to be in it, and congratulations on it too.
Thank you, John Paul. Thank you so much. Well, and there can be so much fear around social media that's great to be talking about it in that like really thoughtful way. And like as colleagues, you really all led the way in kind of finding ways to use social media in a appropriate way, in a way that's creates a rich space for colleagues as well. So thank you so much. Caz, are you thinking something there?
I was, yeah.
Yes.
Because just on that point, because after we've kind of done the round table, it goes through, I've just kind of laid out what things we agreed on and what things we had in common and what things we kind of diverged on. And I'd really encourage people to read through those lists, because it's very, very interesting. And for me, you know, I guess being able to hear from some of my colleagues how differently they use different platforms, how differently they might use social media to why and how I use it. And of course, that the why and the how is very important there. So it is a developing field, and you're right, John, a lot of people get very scared, but you know, I think it's part of it is definitely part of things. And point that's been made in the book, I think Myra made it actually in the book, which is thinking about it as an extension of the private practice consulting room, what we do on social media, like in terms of boundaries and things, which I think is a very interesting point.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much here. This feels like we could easily do well, there's not a day ahead of us, and we're probably not going to stay up all night, but I think we could, chatting in this area. But I think we wanted to also make some time to come to the series editors. So I wonder if could we do that now? Would that be all right, Caz and Nicholas? And yeah, so Myra, John Paul, thank you so much for being here and contributing to the discussion. I know there are other colleagues who are on the social media panel who are with us. I want to say thank you to you as well for being here. Lynn and Andrew, can we invite you onto the screen? So very pleased to have Lynn Gabriel and Andrew Reeves. And you've kicked off the series with the first book. And we're very pleased to have the launch here, not at online events not so long ago. And you're also stewarding this series of books too. And so a warm welcome to the launch as well. I wonder if you might have some things to say about the book, and to Nicholas and Caz as well. Yeah. Oh,
You're on
and
mute,
Lynn,
Lynn.
we've got you on mute. So let's see if we can open your mic. There we go.
Just to say huge congratulations, Caz and Nicholas. This is a much needed book. And Caz, I've come across your work before. I just think you're phenomenal. And the fact that you're part of a series that Andrew and I are kind of navigating through is wonderful. And Nicholas too. So it's an amazing book, both of you. And there's also people here who've endorsed the book. So there's people who are on your panel, but you've got people who've given absolutely glowing endorsements for this, Caz. And someone said earlier, I think that it was on, is it Peligro, which is amazing.
Peligo, yeah.
Peligo, yeah. So it's like, well done, both of you. That is wonderful to see. I don't really want to say a great deal more about the series, other than you can see in the front part of Caz and Nicholas's book, this is the beginning of a series. So Andrew and I did a piece kind of setting our scene around relational ethics and navigating relational ethics more generally. We've got Caz and Nicholas doing that amazing job of looking at practice, private practice, which the majority of our practitioners work in. So it's such an important read. So wonderful to have that. We've also got, did you want to say, Andrew, a bit about some of the other books that we've got? Because we've got some great books ahead. But I don't want to do, John Wilson and Caz and Nicholas, is take time from Caz and Nicholas, because this is their shout, actually. But Andrew, you might want to say a little bit about John and Julia and Nicola and Mary.
No, for the same
Maybe
reasons
not.
that you just said. No, I mean there's other books coming, but this is Caz and Nicholas's night, so I don't really want to talk about the other books. I mean, suffice to say that this was absolutely high up on our list when we were thinking about the series, and when Caz and Nicholas agreed to do it, you know, we were delighted. And I think we're really, really lucky as series editors to have a book that I think is going to become an industry standard in terms of private practice and ethics, because as Caz said earlier, There's lots of things written about private practice, but nothing I think that is as succinct, as accessible, and as relevant as what Caz and Nicholas have achieved. So I just wanted to say huge congratulations. I have my copy here. I've obviously read it as you went along, and I've read it in its final form. You should be delighted with it, and thank you for agreeing to write for our series. I think we're the lucky ones.
Our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Andrew. And thank you, Lynn. So appreciate you both being here too, and really preserving the space for Caz and Nicholas as well. I notice we've got about 10 minutes left, which I'm thinking that maybe this is an opportunity to open up the floor a bit, and maybe there might be some questions, there might be some feedback. Just want to check with Caz and Nicholas, that's all right, or whether there's something else you might want to say before we do that. And
just one thing I'll pick up on, which is what Myra said about supervisors. She said so often gets forgotten, and I forgot it. Yeah, because you know, we do have a chapter which is on supervision, and it's on other alternative supportive spaces. But I was really really happy to kind of John, you're like this, to reference a model that that I first talked about in the International Supervision Week in 2021. And to have that in the book, you know, so I guess the book as a whole, but also that particular chapter, and just giving some ideas on, you know, you can kind of use something that's based on the Inskip and Proctor supervision model, which I kind of reworked specifically for private practice. It fits very nicely in there. So definitely, I would be saying, yeah, for supervisors, there's a lot in there. And I'm a big advocate for specialist supervision for private practitioners. You know, actually, if you're a private practitioner seeing 20 clients a week or something, you know, you need a supervisor who knows about that. Yeah, preferably someone who works in private practice, but absolutely. So thank you for saying that, Myra.
So important. Thank you for referencing the International Supervision Week as well, Caz. Very much appreciated. And I can just see the comment about there's a great review on Amazon, 5 out of 5. And just a reminder, while we're all together, I don't want to miss this at the end. It does make a massive difference to books getting those reviews on Amazon. I know it's not all our favorite platform, I guess, but in terms of colleagues finding books, in terms of Google searches and on Amazon as well. So if anybody can go across to Amazon and leave a 5-star review, it will make a big difference to the life of the book. So yeah, I kind of plead us all to do what we can. Yeah. Well, we've got that little bit of space, and if anybody wanted to raise their Zoom hand, Jeff can use the unmute request, and you might have a question for Nicholas and Myra, or you might have some more things you want to say in the chat. And if not, I mean, there's a million more things that Caz and Nicholas could say about the book, I'm sure, but we did want to leave a little space. And yeah, let's see what's here. And oh, I just see that comment. Totally agree, Caz. Private practice supervision is a specialism. So yeah, really important to catch that. So just a little moment to pause and see if there might be anything here, anything that anybody wants to say. Oh, more congratulations. Thank you for that in the chat as well.
I want to give a shout out also to our endorsers, our early reviewers, Susan, who just said that about supervision, yeah, agreeing with me about what I said about supervision. And Susan was the chair at the BACP private practice, so it's great to get a review. And our Dwight has just popped in as well, so thank you very much. And Janine Connor, Janine, it's been great to have you. If you still are here, she's driving, so I think she's pulled over or something to be able to attend. And also Dr. Mish Seabrook, who does fantastic work, or has done fantastic work on supervision. She's also a coach.
Oh, that's lovely, Caz. Yeah. Well, we do have a question in the oh, we've got several questions coming in. One about did you learn anything new as you were writing the book? So that's a really interesting question. Like, what might have emerged maybe as you're in contact with other colleagues as well. And Nicholas, I can kind of see you nodding. Is something coming to mind for you there? And yeah.
Yeah, obviously, that was an opportunity for us to reflect about things and come up with new ideas, I suppose. So for me, and Kaz will also give her perspective, I think the main thing was that usually they're not straightforward answers, and it's not enough just to rely on, the formal ethical codes, which are necessary. So how can we make ethical decisions in a ethical and rational and, I don't know, socially, let's say, sensitive way? That's how I would summarize my, let's say, reflections that were facilitated by writing this book.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you. Kaz, I wonder if anything's coming to mind for you around that question. And
yeah, I mean, yeah, I kind of echoing what Nicholas said there. It was great to just have time before starting writing to just like literally sit and think. And when you do that, particularly when you're talking about ethics, there's so much there. There's literally so much there. And, I would throw something out that Nicholas hadn't heard before, and then he'd throw something out that I hadn't heard before. So those conversations actually felt, really good, and obviously formed part of some of the developing thinking that we had in the book.
Can I say one more thing? Just one sentence, if you don't mind. Actually, another thing that I found really interesting was how our three-dimensional model becomes more complicated and interesting when we apply to family, couples, and group therapy. And there is a chapter on this in the book. And I suggest a way of working, some stages that we can work through in couples and family therapy that are trying to integrate these three different dimensions so we can be sensitive to everyone involved with a solidarity and social justice broader philosophy, I would say.
thank you, Nicholas. Yes.
Not that
Really
I'm promoting specifically this chapter. I think all chapters are worth reading, but I'm just saying this as another learning I think I gained from writing it.
Thank you, Nicholas. Yeah. Yes, it might be an irresistible place to begin the reading. So, yeah. I can see the question in the chat around, is it okay to spread the discount code around? Yes, please. To really let as many colleagues as possible know about the book. It's so great that Routledge has offered the discount. And so, yeah, yes, please. And we've got a PDF that we're sending out after the launch event as well. So it should land in your inbox. Please feel free to spread it far and wide. Kaz, are you thinking something?
No, just
No?
winding
Okay.
down to the end of the
Okay.
event. Yeah, thinking about having cake. I have actually got cake ready to go. So yeah, I'll have that to continue the celebration after. But I guess I just wanted to say, it's really great to see just over 50 people here. Really appreciate that, because I know it's like Christmas party season, and so it's just so nice to see people come along, and also I guess people from lots of different communities. I'm involved in lots of different communities, and it's good to have I can see some people's names from different places that I know. And also, you know, to have, if we've got students here, I think there's at least 2 students here. Yeah, you know, Peter Blundell is here, my Therapist Connect colleague. And one thing we always have said with Therapist Connect is, you know, to students, this is your profession. This is your profession, you know, so come along to these types of events and, you know, get involved in the conversations and, you know, the collective nature of the work that we can do to evolve our profession as it needs to. So yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Caz. Oh, and Peter's just put the handle in, I guess, to make contact with Therapist Connect. Yeah. Well, and I was just thinking how often ethics can feel like a kind of scary subject to get into, or something that, yeah. And I just really appreciate the way that you've both been here with us, just to kind of open that up in a really friendly and accessible way that is also deeply thorough in the way that you've been writing and thinking and working in this area. So thank you both. I think it is time to, what I'm thinking is we need to open up the microphones for a round of applause. I think that will be an appropriate thing to do at the end of our hour. So really a congratulations, Caz and Nicholas, on this book. And Jeff, if you can open up the microphones for us and we can make a little bit of noise at the end of our hour together. Congratulations. Yeah. Wonderful. We'll break the Zoom microphones, but it's really nice to hear everyone. And we've got a few minutes kind of to say goodbye on the way out. And if anybody's got any comments you want to say before you leave, you're very welcome to. Yeah. Thank you for being here, everyone.
Yeah. Well done, you two. Fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you, John. Always a pleasure being with you.
You're welcome. What kind of cake have you got, Caz?
Carrot cake.
Oh, lovely.
There might be room for chocolate as well at some point, but
that sounds really nice. And Omar, I can see your cake emojis on the screen. That looks great. Yeah. And Janine, I can just about see you there. I see your microphone open, but just about. Thank you for being here. Mick, were you going to say something? I think I might.
No, I was just trying to make out Janine's face. That's very dark. Seeing the dark, that's intriguing. Hope everyone has a nice
I'm in a car.
Ah, there you are.
I'm traveling in a car, so can't put the light on really.
Hope everyone has a nice weekend. We deserve it.